Hey, sweet friends, y'all get on in this kitchen because Sabbath is upon us and we got things to do, okay? I gotta finish my bacon for my boy to go to Western Kentucky University for Parents Weekend this weekend. And then I'm gonna do a new recipe for Sabbath dinner tomorrow because I'm always doing multiple things on Sabbath for prep and I work today. That means I didn't have as much time to prepare. And last night was busy too, so here we go. The first thing we're gonna do is make some 2-ingredient pumpkin muffins, you all. And most people know about this, and if you don't, I'm here to tell you, okay? All you need is 1 box of spice cake mix, okay? And 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin. That's all you need. That's all you need. And it makes some really good muffins. And if you've not made these, make these. If you're not a baker, if you're not a cook, it's fine. Let this be your specialty. Let this be your new treat. That if you don't even like to cook and you don't even like to bake, that this is something that everybody, guys, can do. It's 2 ingredients. It's your dry spice cake mix, which smells good because it's got all those fall spices in it, and 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin. It's that simple. And that's gonna provide, it's gonna act as your wet ingredients, y'all. Kind of like eggs and oil and things like that in other recipes, like cakes and things that we bake. Most everything we bake, it has to have some wet ingredients and some dry ingredients in order for it to turn out right. And in this case, with these sweet little muffins, our wet ingredients is just gonna simply be a can of pumpkin. That's it. That's it. That's all they ain't no more. That's all we need. And then you're gonna work that all in together. You're simply gonna mix it. It's that simple. Everybody can do that. Everybody can do that, you all. Kids can do this. This is a great treat for you all to make with your babies or your grandbabies. If you're wanting something simple and you know those little hands, they're busy and there's my oven, it's preheated. Those little hands are busy. They like to get into everything. And also, those little attention spans are short, aren't they? And they can't help it. I mean, goodness gracious, look at us. With social media and these phones and these reels that we watch and all the things we watch on the TikTok, we have developed very short attention spans ourselves, haven't we? A couple seconds and we're about done and we're on to the next thing. That's why it's funny making cooking videos, because you know they're gonna take some time, y'all. They're gonna be 20, 30, 40 minutes long. You know why? Because it takes time to cook. It takes time to cook something. Now that's just all there is to it. Cooking takes time. And so that's why I appreciate y'all coming to hang out with me and spend time with me, because that's what cooking requires, is time and effort, okay? And so for those little busy hands and those little short attention spans that our babies and our grandbabies have, this recipe right here, it don't get much better, you all. You see that? I mean, how quick did that mix up? How quick was that? It just doesn't get much easier than that. So if you're pressed for time because you have little ones that with busy hands into everything and they're short attention spans, and you're still wanting that experience of baking some yummy treats with them, this is your recipe. Now, see what I'm gonna do, because I know that my boy, he likes nuts, just like his mother. And so what we're gonna do, I keep some walnuts and pecans. I try to on hand, just for such an occasion. And I'm not putting that many in it. I'm just putting a little handful, okay? And I've told you before, and I'm gonna tell you again, if you are purchasing nuts for baking purposes, unless you are just purchasing them in bulk, which some people do, and more power to you, And God bless you. I think it's awesome if you got that kind of money and you can buy them in bulk. As expensive as they are nowadays. Yes, get those things in bulk. Hoard up on them. No, I always go to the baking aisle because you can get smaller bags and they're a lot cheaper than if you actually like to snack on nuts. You guys, they have figured that out. They have figured that out, and their marketing game is strong, and they have started to put them in a whole different aisle of the of the grocery store, the snacking nuts, the mixed nuts, things like that. And they are different. Some of the mixed nuts you can't get in the baking aisle. I'm just saying, if you like to snack on some good roasted almonds, some walnuts, some plain nuts without all the salt and the flavors and all that added, go to the baking aisle. You're gonna get them for about half the price, at least 2/3 of the price, if not better. So this is a thick little mix that we've got here. Now I have already greased my muffin tin very well, and I'm just gonna start plopping spoonfuls down in there. Now, ideally, you may want to use an ice cream scoop, a cookie scoop if you have one, okay? I did not take the time. I do not have a cookie scoop, but I need one, and I would use it. And I do have an ice cream scoop. Didn't take the time to get it out. I'm going to use the tools in my hands. I'm going to use a simple spoon because our mamas and our grannies have been using nothing but a simple spoon to do these very same things our entire lives. And it ain't never failed them, y'all, has it? It's never failed them. So I love kitchen gadgets. I do. I love the little tools that make our lives easier as cooks and home bakers. But if you're asking me if I think they're necessary, my answer is absolutely not. You do not have to have those things to be a good cook, home cook, or baker, or to have an enjoyable experience in the kitchen as you do these things. I do not believe that you have to have those things in order to do either one of those things. You don't have to have all the gadgets to be a good cook, and you don't have to have all the gadgets to enjoy yourself. It's the simple things in life, guys, in which we find the most joy. And this little spoon right here is working just fine for this job. I don't know about you. If you're anything like me, you may not always be the best judge at just exactly how much to fill each cup when you are doing muffin or cupcake, muffins or cupcakes. You may overfill some, you may underfill others. I tend to do that. I don't know, I'm not the best judge, I don't guess. I don't have the best depth perception, I suppose. And so I tend to overfill some, underfill others, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna remedy that right now, and that's gonna be just fine. And we're gonna rob our little Peter cup over here to pay our Paul cup over here. We're gonna take some from one and give a little bit back to another until we get them just about equal all the way around. They don't mind to share. This little muffin cup doesn't mind to share with that little muffin cup. And we can get them all just about the same, or close enough anyway, okay? Nothing wrong with that. It's not an exact science, y'all. And I don't know about you, but I'm not perfect, okay? The only perfection I know is in the one that I serve. The God that I serve, He is perfect in every way, but I, friends, am not. So give yourself a break. Everything don't have to be perfect, and everything don't have to be Instagram worthy and all that sort of thing. We sure do live in that kind of world, don't we? Where we've become convinced that if it's not absolutely perfect, flawless, immaculate, that sort of thing. You know how much time these people spend setting up these these scenes and these sets to make you think that life is really that perfect. Let me tell you how imperfect it is. I have just slopped some of this over in my floor, and I'm going to have to wipe that up too. And that's going to be all right. And why is that? Because we ain't perfect. And life is messy. And sometimes you're going to get some on you. And sometimes you're going to have to clean up the mess, aren't you? Sometimes it's going to get so messy, you're going to have to stop what you're doing and give your full attention to the mess in front of you and get it cleaned up before you can go on to the next thing. Now listen, that is not perfect. That is not perfect. But they're filled and they're ready to go. And I'm going to pop these in the oven at 375 degrees for 20 minutes. Okay? I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. And we're going to check them after that. And how are we going to check them? We're going to check them the age-old way. We're going to check them with a toothpick. We're going to stick a toothpick right down the center and the thickest part of those. We're going to pull it out, and we're going to see if anything wet is stuck to it. And if anything wet comes out on that toothpick after sticking it in the thickest part of that muffin, those muffins aren't done. And we're going to put them back in for a few more minutes. So, putting that aside, I've got this. As Sabbath keepers, we keep a lot of these piled up because we use a lot of these throwaway pans. They're easy. They're easy. They're not necessary, but they're easy. So we cook all of our food a day ahead. And then when it's time, we pop that in the oven on low to warm. And we're not working. Let me dump some of this out. I've got to dump the water out of my broccoli, okay? Because you don't want a bunch of broccoli water down in the bottom of your pan. You just don't want that. That won't be any good, okay? So, yeah, we just cook all of our food a day ahead of time, and then we're able to actually come fully rest, okay, on Shabbat, and we're not working. The first thing I have, I'm going to make a chicken casserole, and it's going to be a quick one. It's going to be so quick that if you blink your eyes, you're going to miss it, y'all. If you blink your eyes, you're going to miss it. Now, I have already heated one package of broccoli in the microwave. I've essentially steamed it in the bag. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This recipe, it calls for 1 bag of steamed broccoli, okay? I could have used 2. I did not know that because I've never made this recipe before. And this is where, as I discover that, because I've made it this time and I think, that could have used another bag of broccoli. I will write that wherever I save that recipe. When I save that recipe, I'm not going to save it as 1 bag of broccoli, right? I'm going to write down 2 bags of frozen broccoli next time. And I'm going to adjust that recipe to suit my preferences. This 1 bag of broccoli is going to be fine. It will be plenty. We like broccoli. And I think it could use 2. And so that's exactly how we're going to alter that and edit that recipe to suit our personal preference for our family. Now, what in the world am I doing? I don't know what y'all are doing. If you don't have a good pair of kitchen scissors that you only use for kitchen duties and things like cutting food with, that you don't let your husband go outside and cut his weed eater string with, you're not living your life right, honey. You need to get it together. You need to get your life right, okay? And you need to get you a good pair of kitchen scissors, because the things a lot of times, I don't know, maybe I'm lazy, but I like convenience when it comes, especially when I'm cooking several meals at once, like when I'm prepping for Sabbath, you all. I want things to be quick and easy. So I get me a good clean pair of kitchen scissors and I go to town. And I could have spent my time cutting all that up with a knife, but why? Now you see what I'm saying? That's not completely covering the bottom of that pan, and it could if I had 2 bags. So next time, I'll get 2 bags. Now this recipe, okay, for this chicken casserole, cheesy broccoli chicken casserole, it calls you guys for canned chicken. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? I'm gonna be completely honest with you right now. Canned chicken is not something I use a lot of, but I will when I'm pressed for time, okay? We ain't too good around here. And I have got the Swanson Premium Chunk White Chicken Breast, okay? 15 grams of protein per can. And I am going to drain my chicken. I'm gonna drain that chicken really well, because just like I didn't want broccoli juice down in the bottom of my casserole pan, neither do I want chicken juice. I don't want a bunch of chicken juice either, because I'm gonna add my own things to it, and it don't call for a bunch of chicken juice, you all. So I'm gonna dump that in there, all right? And I'm gonna use 2 cans of this. So now I know that I'm gonna get 2 bags of broccoli next time, and I'm probably gonna stick with the 2 cans of white meat canned chicken, okay? Now I would suggest, I mean, unless it's your thing, unless you like darker meat with that, and everybody's different. I am a white meat girl when it comes to stuff like this. So, you know, for me, I would suggest sticking with the white meat canned chicken. And you may not want to use canned chicken, okay? That may be somehow not your thing, okay? If it's not, don't do it. If it's not, bake you some chicken breasts in the oven. Throw you a couple chicken breasts in the crock pot the night before you make this, and get those well done and softened up. Use you a dead chicken, like my friend Kathy says, okay? A dead chicken from the Kroger or the Walmarts, and get you one of those roasted chickens. Bring it home, shred it up. There's so many different ways that you can do this, guys. You do not have to do it my way. This is what the recipe calls for. Most generally, I'm gonna be honest, I would do a rotisserie chicken shredded up, or I would season my own chicken and throw it into the crock pot overnight and make sure that I had it flavored the way that I wanted it. I'm in a hurry tonight. I've got lots to do. So, I'm gonna try this recipe without many variations. I'm gonna do it the way they told me to do it. So I have shredded up my canned chicken. I've got my 1 bag of broccoli. And at this point, now I'm gonna start getting, a little personal with it, doing it my way, okay? None of these things are in the recipe. But at this point, I'm going to lightly, because I like flavor in my food, y'all. And this seemed like a good base recipe that was a little bland. So I'm gonna add a little garlic powder. And I'm gonna add a little onion powder, okay? And what have I done? Have I lost my, oh Lord, y'all. I've got my, I've got my shaker. You know what I'm talking about. It's stuck up in the lid. My little piece that has got the holes in it. That allows me to shake it out. This is real life, y'all. Oh, did you see that? Came right out of there. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. This little part, this little piece that comes on it when you get it, so that you can actually shake it and not pour it. It's brand new. And it got stuck right up in that lid. It sure did. So I'm gonna give it a little onion powder, a little garlic powder, okay? I'm probably gonna get wild, okay, just plumb wild, and maybe even give it a tiny little sprinkle of poultry seasoning, okay? I mean, do what you like. Make your food the way that you like it. Now, I am gonna add a little salt and pepper also, okay? I like flavor in my food. You should too. We need to make food that our families and we want to eat. And in order for that to happen, it's got to have flavor, okay? Get my pepper. We don't want no bland food, that's for sure. People don't look forward to and make memories from bland food. They love good, flavorful food. So, we've got some flavor on that now. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is open a can. It calls for a can of cream of chicken, but I found cream of chicken with mushroom, okay? And we are mushroom lovers, and so that's what we're going to add. As mushroom lovers, we're gonna do a can of cream of chicken with mushroom. Now, to that, we're gonna add something else, okay? There's gonna be a little mixture here, okay? It's not just the cream of chicken. We're going to add some, it calls for sour cream. And in this house, I'm gonna continue to remind you that in this house, sour cream is Greek yogurt because of some lactose intolerance. Go for the full dairy sour cream if you're making this. And everybody in your house is A-okay with eating that. And it's not going to hurt anybody, and it's not going to cause anybody any troubles, then please, by all means, use full dairy sour cream. We are going to use Greek yogurt. Now, I have a brand new thing of Greek yogurt, and I'm going to wash my spoon off so I can get the Greek yogurt out. Now, look at there. Good as new, clean. And I'm gonna add my Greek yogurt. Now, the recipe calls for 3/4 a cup of sour cream, okay? Guys, I don't really feel like at this point that I need to measure. I pretty much am okay with knowing what 3/4 of a cup roundabout is. So if you are newer to cooking and you are not as confident in those things, which is perfectly fine, the only way that we learn and we get confident in those things is by doing and measuring and eyeballing and seeing those things for ourselves time and time again. So if you're not that confident, you get your measuring cups out and you measure out that 3/4 cup of sour cream, guys. Do what makes you comfortable. It's your food, it's your kitchen. I tell you something else I just realized that I want to put in here. Hang with me. I just decided I want mushrooms too, because again, we're mushroom lovers. And is there any fresh food in this? Absolutely not. Okay? Do I absolutely love to cook with fresh ingredients above all else? Absolutely. I will die on that hill every time. I love fresh ingredients. I love them, okay? I prefer them. But sometimes we're in a hurry, you all, and it doesn't mean that we can't have a good little meal for our families with what we got in the pantry. And I just happen to have a can of mushrooms, and I think they're gonna go perfectly with that broccoli and that shredded chicken, and so that's what we're gonna do. And that's what we've just added, okay? Now, on top of this wonderful chicken and mushroom and broccoli mixture that we have seasoned, I'm gonna take this cream of chicken soup, and mine is cream of chicken and mushroom, okay? You do you. They do cream of chicken with herbs. You can do that. Whatever you like. We've mixed that, 1 can of that, with 3/4 a cup or roundabout. I mean, you know, you can go ahead and add a full cup if you want to. 3/4 a cup of sour cream, okay? In my case, it's Greek yogurt. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spread that out with the back of that spoon until I get all of this casserole covered, okay? We want everybody to get some goodie on them. Everybody to get some creamy goodness on them, okay? All the way to the edges. Work that out to the edges and make sure the entire casserole gets covered in that creamy goodness, okay? We want all that creamy goodness to settle down as it bakes into our chicken and our broccoli and our mushrooms and our seasonings. That's what we want, guys. That's gonna make it so good, okay? Now, we've got that entire thing covered at this point. We have spread out all of our creamy goodness over top of our chicken and our broccoli and our mushrooms. Now, let me show you what we're gonna do. Now, we're gonna put some cheese on it. Now, the original recipe, you all, it calls for like slices of American cheese, but it's not our thing. It's just not our thing in this house. I just love cheese. That's all I can tell you. I like to stick with the real deal. I know that American cheese is kind of more of a processed thing. It's fine and dandy. If that's what you love, then honey, I want you to double up those slices on there, okay? Because that's actually what the recipe calls for, is for you to unwrap those slices and lay them across here until you've covered it entirely, all right? And that worked out perfectly for me because look, I had just enough to cover the whole thing. Now at this point, what we're gonna do, and you know what we're gonna do, don't you? You know what we're gonna do. You sure do. Because that's what we do in America, y'all. That is exactly what we do in America. Honey, if you're Southern, you're gonna put this Ritz topping on some casseroles. Hold on just a minute, let me get a stick of butter. I mean, matter of fact, I believe that they will run you plumb out of the South if and they find out that you don't use a stick of butter and a roll of Ritz crackers on top of your casseroles. So I'm gonna pop this in the microwave. I'm just gonna hit a quick minute on it because I know that that's gonna, I do that enough that I know good and well that is gonna melt that butter. It's gonna get it good and hot. And in the meantime, I'm gonna start working on my crackers. There's many ways you can do this. I mean, honestly, you can do it in your hands. And honestly, that's the way I normally do it. I'm just gonna help it get started with my meat mallet. Works pretty well as long as you don't get wild and bust it open at the end and end up with crackers all over your kitchen. Works pretty well. I mean, that's done, y'all. That has worked beautifully for me. And just kind of finish it out, feel around, use your hands, your sense of touch. Make sure you don't have any huge, chunks of crackers in there that you can't do nothing with. I want you to look at that beautiful, yummy goodness. You all know how to do this. If you don't know how to do nothing else, I know that you know how to do this. Okay? So a whole stick of butter, that's right. Nobody said we were doing health food here, okay? A whole stick of butter and a whole sleeve of crackers. That's what we're doing. Coax them all out of there. Mine are not wanting to come out. I don't guess I opened it wide enough. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Everybody in the pool. Everybody in the pool. Now, y'all, telling you right now, it is hot in Kentucky today and has been this week. And isn't that just the way that it goes in September? It is hotter than blazes during the day, and we got those nice cool nights that don't have all that humidity that we're suffering with in July and August. All that humidity starts to ease up in September. Even on our hot days in September, they're not as humid, they're not as stifling, and just, it's so heavy and thick that it just makes it hard to breathe, y'all. And I just love it with all the signs of fall. And we're down here in the wilderness in the holler, and everything is starting to change, and the leaves are just, goodness, that golden sun pouring through there on these afternoons, and the wind starts blowing, and those yellow leaves, we have yellow ones mostly right now, a few red, just barely. They're just barely starting to turn. And all that just starts raining down. Those yellow leaves start raining down in that golden sunshine on these beautiful, bright, blue sky September days, and I just love it. It's so beautiful, you all. Ain't God's creation good? Isn't it beautiful? Goodness, I love the seasons. I love them. Now, I believe we about got that. Oh, we got a good mix going on. It is buttery. You hear me? It's good and buttery. This is where I'm going to use, wait a minute. Did you hear that? What am I doing, y'all? I got to get these muffins out. We got to check on them. I get to run in my jaws and don't even know what's going on. I can't burn my muffins. Oh my goodness. Do you smell that? Do you smell that? Y'all, let's get us a toothpick. Shall we? Let's get us a toothpick. Keep your toothpicks right beside your oven, you all. With your salt and your pepper and your oil or whatever it is. Keep them right beside your oven so that you can do this as you're baking and cooking. I mean, she's clean as a whistle. She's daggone clean as a whistle. Let me pick another that I feel like is pretty good and thick. Y'all, it don't get much better than that. Those are beautiful. They smell like fall. You can smell that spice cake and that pumpkin. And you know, like I say, we're gonna let those cool, you all. We're gonna let those cool. We're not gonna start trying to dig them out immediately because they're gonna tear all to pieces, and then we're gonna be mad because our beautiful pumpkin muffins are torn up. So we need to let those cool. Now, back to this topping on this cheesy chicken broccoli casserole. And what I've done is turn it into a cheesy chicken broccoli mushroom casserole. That's a mouthful, ain't it? And this is not my recipe. I watch Dana Standridge, Cooking with Dana, Dana Standridge. She is from Alabama. She has her own page here on Facebook. She is married to an Alabama statesman. He's a statesman there, and he's in the local state government. I think she is a retired school teacher, and she has her own cookbook. She has her own Facebook page. She shares her recipes. A lot of them are 100 years old. She calls them tried and true family recipes, and you can go check her page out, Dana Standridge. This is her recipe. You know, a lot of recipes we just go and we find them or whatever, but if I get a recipe from somebody, I'm going to tell you where I got it from. I'm going to give them credit for it, and I'm going to tell you to go check them out because I learn from these people and I enjoy watching them, and I want you to also, okay? Let's wash our hands off. Get all that butter off of our hands because we can't do nothing with a bunch of greasy, buttery hands, can we? We just can't. We gotta have our hands clean to cook with. Okay? So we constantly keep a towel next to us. We keep our soap at the sink. We keep us sink full of hot soapy water. Now, would you look at that? Oh, that's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And I mean, how quick was that? I didn't cook anything in it. I'm gonna throw it in here for about 20 minutes. And everything is honestly, nothing really needs to be cooked, you all. Think about it. Nothing really needs to be cooked. We've got, let's go back to the beginning. We have 1 bag of frozen broccoli, and I fixed that in the microwave. So that was about 6 minutes in the microwave. Drain the water off of that. Use my kitchen shears to cut that up because I wanted pieces that we could fit in our mouths and actually eat, and not, you know, big hunks that will choke you to death. So I use my kitchen shears to cut those up, spread that across the bottom. I would recommend 2 bags of frozen broccoli, 2 cans of Swanson white meat chicken, drained, and I put those in and we shred those up with a fork. Then I decided, because we're fans of it, I mean, you may not be a fan and you don't have to do this, I decided to add a can of mushrooms drained. So we added those 2. Once we got that base layer down, then we took 1 can of cream of chicken soup. I got cream of chicken with mushroom. You can do cream of chicken with herb, you know, get fancy with it, get creative. 1 can of cream of chicken to 3/4 a cup of sour cream. Mix that together and spread that creamy layer out over top of your chicken and broccoli. To that, you add your cheese layer. You can do shredded cheddar. I did sharp. You can do mild. You could do a white cheese. You can do your preference. The recipe actually calls for like Kraft singles, okay, to lay those out in a layer. You can do whatever your little heart desires. Then, an oldie but a goodie, and we know right well that we love to put this. I mean, what casserole is not good with this on top? A whole roll of Ritz crackers and a stick of butter. I mean, you can't go wrong, y'all. Popped it in the oven for 20 minutes, and now all I'll have to do tomorrow for Sabbath, and we'll have a good dinner waiting for us, is just pop that in the oven on low and warm it up. I'm not doing any cooking. I'm not working. I'm not standing in the kitchen. I'm not dirtying up everything. All the mess can wait. All the chores can wait. All the cooking can wait. I've got my muffins done for my boy. We're gonna pop those in his container with his cookie bars. May make some banana bread too, because I know he likes that. So yeah, and there's one more thing. I wanna show you all. Come with me. We're gonna travel, okay? We're gonna travel. Here we go. I want you all to see the heirloom carrots. We're gonna do a flyover. Look at these little heirloom carrots. These heirloom carrots and these little irregular sweet potatoes that we grew in our garden. Y'all, aren't those cool? Aren't those cool? So